Hi, I'm Riley, and this is a video tutorial on how to rotate your tires and change your oil. And so first off, I've got my motor, my 5 quarts of motor oil right here, and I've got me a new oil filter, and I have all the tools here that I'll need to change my oil. I've got an oil filter wrench. There's a bunch of different types of them. Just whatever you have would probably work. But there's a lot of different types of oil filter wrenches. And to take my drain plug out when I'm changing my oil, I have a metric wrench set and a metric socket set. And when I'm rotating my tires, I'll be using an air gun. You don't have to have this, but this is really convenient. An air gun for taking your lug nuts off, and a torque wrench to get the right torque on your lug nuts when you're putting them back on. And when changing your oil also, it's also really convenient to wear latex gloves because the oil can get really messy. And don't forget your safety glasses. These are very important when you're using an air gun or an air tool. Okay. Right. For this part of the video, I'll be rotating my tires, and it's important to wear your safety glasses. Don't forget that. So put your safety glasses on. And I got my air gun right here, and I got a size 22 socket on there. So I'm going to go ahead and buzz these lug nuts off real quick. Alright, now that I got my lug nuts off, I'm going to take my back wheel and bring it to the front, and I'm going to take my front wheel and bring it to the back, then I'm going to put them back on. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. That's about all there is to it. Okay, now that I've got all my lug nuts loosened up, I'm about to go ahead and bring the front tires and put them on the rear, and the rear tires and put them on the front. If you don't have an air gun, you can also use a speed handle to take the lug nuts off. And it works just as good. It's just not air pressurized. So I'm going to go ahead and take my back tire, bring it to the front. Alright, now that I've got my wheels rotated front to rear, I'm about to go ahead and tighten the lug nuts down, like so, with the speed handle. Okay, as you can see, we use this floor jack to lift the vehicle up to put it on this jack stand so that we can do our tire rotation. So I'm going to reverse this procedure to take it back off the stands. So I've already got the jack up under there, but give it a few good pumps so you can get it up off your jack stands. Let your jack stands down. Let your floor jack down slowly, like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. I'm lifting it up by the chassis, as you can see. Oh, and to tighten this down so that it lifts up, you turn that to the right. I'm pretty sure y'all know how to use a jack stand, but I'm gonna forge it. Alright, now that I've got that up off the jack stand, I can let that down, and I can let my floor jack down. Alright, now do the same thing to the rear. Except for in the rear, I lifted it up by a rear differential. So I'm going to get my floor jack under my rear differential. Tighten down your handle. Lift it up. And now that I've got my jack stand under my rear differential, I'll crank that on down. There we go. Alright, now that's up, I can let my jack stands down. Same procedure for the other side. Grab the handle, let it down. And I'm going to let the back of my vehicle down. Slowly turn this to the left. That's about it. Alright, now I'll be teaching you how to change your oil and oil filter. We got our oil, our filter, our drain pan, and our funnel. Our funnel is for pouring in the new oil, the oil pan is for catching the old oil. And the oil filter, before I put the oil filter on, I always like to put a little bit of oil on the gasket and rub that around with my finger, because that's good for the gasket. And get a little bit of oil inside the filter, because the first few seconds the car runs, oil needs to be in the filter. It's a little bit rough on the engine, you know. Alright. Here we go. Alright, now that we got a little bit of oil in there, that's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and take my stuff up under the car real quick. We got our oil pan, our oil filter, and I've got my oil filter wrench, and I've got my socket. I think it's a 14 size socket to fit the drain plug. And I'll go ahead and have that up here ready to pour in, but we're not quite there yet. Alright, just go ahead and climb up under the truck real quick. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take out my drain plug, which is right here. Here, ready to catch my oil. There we go. We'll go ahead and sit that right there. Alright. Now my oil filter's up here. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I'm going to go ahead and grab on that with my oil filter wrench. Okay, now that I've got the oil filter loose, I can take it off by hand now. And there we go. Starting to dribble. Alright, now that I got my old filter off, I got my new one. And let me get it started by hand up here. And once you get it started by hand, you can get your wrench and put about a 3/4 turn on it, and that ought to be tight enough. Job can be a little bit messy, but it ain't fun if you don't get your hands a little bit dirty, right? Alright, my hands were a little bit slippery and I couldn't hold on to the filter good. But I got, these are shop rags. These things are really handy to have around. So I'm going to go ahead and dry off this front drive shaft. And then I'm going to go up here and wipe my filter off good so I can get a better grip on it. That oil is really slippery. So once you get that dried off, you get a better grip on it. With your wrench here. Alright, so now that we got that done, we can go ahead and start tightening it back down with our oil wrench. Oil filter wrench. Just like so. It's kind of a tight space. You just got to work with it, but so get it down nice and snug. Just to a tight feel, about like that. And then when you're good under here, and it's time to go ahead and put your plug back in. Go ahead, when it's done dribbling, you go ahead and put your plug back in and start putting in your new oil. Alright, go ahead and tighten it on back down. Oh, alright, that's tight. Okay, now back on up to the top of the truck to put the new oil in. Alright, now we're under the hood and we got our oil and we got our funnel. So right here, most vehicles have a cap that says engine oil fill. And so we'll go ahead and take that on off. See on there it says engine oil fill. And we'll go ahead and we'll stick our funnel in there. This vehicle happens to take 5 quarts, so we're going to pour all of this on in there. But make sure you look in your door jamb to see what weight oil and how much of it your vehicle holds. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get a good pour going on there. There we go. And just watch it, make sure it doesn't overfill and pour out of your funnel. And like so, just keep pouring it in there till it's all in. And monitor and make sure it's going in evenly. This is the easy part. One time my buddy Corey was changing his oil and he forgot to put his drain plug back in, and as soon as he started pouring his oil and he heard it dripping under there, and he said he got up under there faster than he'd ever moved before to make sure none of that oil got out. But you gotta be sure to put your drain plug back in, or all this brand new oil is gonna go right back onto the ground. That's not what you want. This oil's kind of pricey. I know, right? We're getting to the end of the bottle here. We're almost there. We're getting there. Just a little bit more in there. Alright. Make sure you shake all the last little bit of oil in there out. Alright. Now you can go ahead and take your funnel out. I like to set in my drain pan. My drain pan's still up under the truck, so I'm just set them right here. Then go ahead and put your oil cap on. Just to make sure everything's cool, go ahead and check your oil real quick while you're up under the hood. So my dipstick's right here. So you take your dipstick out. Wipe it off, stick it back in there. Make sure we get a good measurement. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that good, but we got it up in this zone right here, so we got plenty of oil in there. But if it was an add mark, that would mean you didn't have enough. If it was over that'd mean you had overfilled it. That's about it for the oil change. Alright, now we're about to go ahead and torque our lug nuts down. This is a torque wrench with a size 22 socket, and you should look at your factory specifications for the torque you need to put on your lug nuts. This is very important so that you don't over tighten them and break a wheel stud, and you don't under tighten them and have a lug nut fall off while you're driving. So I have got my torque wrench set to 100, which is my factory specifications for my lug nuts and how much torque I need to put on them. So I'm about to go ahead and tighten down my lug nuts if you want to watch. So you wait for it to click, and that means that the lug nut's tight. Listen for it. Hear that? Once it does that, you can go ahead and let it off. Here we go. That's 2. Alright, now that I've got my lug nuts torqued, I'm going to go ahead and pop my center caps back on, like so. There we go, make sure that's good on there good. You don't want that flying off while you're driving. But this is an air gauge slash tire pump. You can see right there where it reads the PSI in the tires. And mine need to be at about 45. According to my specifications, so I'm going to go ahead and check my tire pressure real quick. Alright. It was reading about 40, so I'm going to put a little bit of air in there. Alright, that's reading about 45. So this is good. Let me go ahead and put my valve stem cap back on there. And you need to do that for all 4 tires, and you'll be done with your tire rotation. That's about all there is to it. Thank you for watching my video, and hopefully there'll be more to come. Y'all have a great day.
Out in the sticks with the squirrels and the ticks and my 30-06